Alright, this video is going to be installing an UltiMAK scope mount on an AK. This one specifically is Norinco 84. Just in case you've been living in a cave, an UltiMAK is a 1913 standard, or what some people call a Picatinny rail, that replaces the gas tube on an AK. So essentially you're mounting any of your scopes, red dots, or whatever on where the normal gas tube would be, and as you can see, the piston for the AK goes in and out of there. Step one, as with any firearm, clear the weapon and then field strip it. So we see empty mag, put the safety down, snap cap goes out, and there's nothing in the chamber. This is not an AK disassembly video, so if you really don't know how to assemble an AK, we're going to go through it real quick. Push in button, remove top cover. Push in recoil spring guide, remove recoil spring. Pull out bolt carrier and bolt. Yes, it's dirty, but I mean, it's an AK. Now, of course, because the UltiMAK replaces the gas tube, next step is to remove the gas tube. And simple. On this one, that lever came off real easy. On other AKs, you may have to use pliers or use a cleaning kit tool. And so now the gas tube is off. Voila. Next steps may be a little uncomfortable if you've never done them before. Essentially, on an AK handguard, a normal AK handguard, you've got a little lever holding the handguard stop in, and a lot of times you have to pry it out. But any screwdriver, this is just a regular old Leatherman wave, you just pry it out a little, and as you can see now, it's almost ready to go. There's actually a couple steps in the manual, but I mean, it's monkey simple on this gun. Once you rotate that all the way forward, pull this forward, the manual says tap it out with a screwdriver butt. I guess some of them get stuck. And then the handguard will come out once my dumbass remembers to remove the cleaning rod. And then the handguard comes right off. This is the M-2B model of the UltiMAK. The difference between it and the M1B is it's got these little vent holes for venting excess gas. On the Norinco 84, the OEM original gas tube has the holes. That really shouldn't matter, except as you can see, this particular Norinco 84 has a suppressor on it, which increases the back pressure. So I says to myself, better just do it for safety. Now the next step is just a test fitting. What you do is just do it just like before. You take this, like you install the regular gas tube, you take this front end, put it into the gas block tenon. Yeah, I learned a new word today. Tenon, and just make sure that these bottom pieces right here can actually mate to the barrel. Nice thing about most 5.56 by 45 barrels for AKs is they use a standard barrel blank and just bore it out that way. Except for the Romanian ones, I believe it is, and UltiMAK sells shims for them. Now the UltiMAK instructions have an entire wad full of steps that don't really apply to this gun, because this gun has a polymer handguard that showed handguards, most handguards. The mounting clamps will fit right into the handguards without any problems, so you can actually mount the lower handguard on the barrel with the mounting clamps installed. That's great unless you got one of these wood handguards that this rifle doesn't have, and then you have to do some additional steps. So I'm going to run through those additional steps except for the dremeling out of wood. I'm not going to do that on this video, sorry. But as far as what you would need to do in case these clamps don't fit, and I'm going to run through that real quick, and then we'll go back to just what I'd need to do with a normal, more optimized handguard like this. Okay, this step again is for if you have a handguard that doesn't exactly fit, so you can't just slide it on. You don't want to do this if you've got a good handguard that you can just slide the mounting clamps on with the handguard, because then you're going to have to take this scope mount off again. As you can see, we've got one mounting clamp on, and the second mounting clamp goes on, and you just screw these puppies on. I mean, it's really not that complicated. And simple stuff. You're just test fitting, making sure everything fits, making sure everything's in place, and then adjusting both of these just tight enough. You're snugging the mounting clamps up to the barrel itself, so you don't have to dremel any more wood than would be necessary off those wood handguards that won't fit, like the Chinese ones, and apparently the MAK 90 ones are a problem. Alright, Optic Mount is installed for fitting the forend. Now, UltiMAK does include one extra screw besides the 4 in the mount. This is simply for idiot-proofing in case you cross-thread or strip some threads. And since I'm clumsy as heck with tools, that's necessary. Okay, next step is to see if the foreguard fits over it. As you can see, because this isn't tight like the wood groups might be, that fit just fine. And so this step was purely unnecessary, and I just did it for the people who actually want to put a wood handguard on. Now again, here's the more tricky part. You gotta see if this fits on your foregrip, and of course the instructions say, you notice you can't lock it because the mount is in the way. Don't worry, we'll worry about that later. Well, here's exactly why you don't want to go through this step unless you've got the wood handguards. Now this is the part where you determine, hey, okay, I can't get this foregrip on, or I can't get this thing to lock in with pushing it, so now I have to dremel out pieces of wood. That's not going to happen. We're going to go now to the step where you actually just stick this thing on with this kind of hand grip. If you need instructions for what pieces to dremel out of a wood handguard, it's in the UltiMAK instructions, and I'll include a picture of it just so you can see where to look. Okay, now if you needed the wood handguards and you finally fitted them with this UltiMAK on, now is the part where you have to remove all these screws and redundantly take the UltiMAK off, and then seal the handguard forend cap on. And again, this is a step you can just skip to if your handguard fits like mine does. Because ta-da! Now we go through the wonderful step of reattaching the UltiMAK. Since it's a little bit dark in these holes now, you may want to use a punch or something similar to make sure the holes are decently lined up before you screw them on. See, I'm using a couple punches to make sure the holes are lined up as I start to screw them on. Only screw the screws finger tight, because you're going to have to adjust the UltiMAK once you've got all 4 screws in. Now the UltiMAK manual says the way it's designed you don't need any Loctite, but they don't discourage you from using it either. They just say it's not necessary. But me, I'm paranoid, so these are going to have a little bit of thread locker on them. Once we got the 4 screws tight, next step, of course, this thing's just hanging off into space. Let's get that rear sight block gas tube lever rotated back down in position. Now that we've got it here, there needs to be a little bit of space here and a little bit of space here, and right now this one's flush. The reason being, this is aluminum, this is steel. When this rifle gets hot from repeated firing, the metal's going to expand at different rates on the temperature, and if one expands more than the other, you could shift your mount a little, so we're going to reposition it now. Depending on how tight your screws are, you can use your hand, or if you tighten things way too tight like I do often, you can use maybe a small plastic or rawhide hammer and just slowly back it back and forth until you've got space in between the two. And I'm not going to bore you with a minute worth of that. Alright, I imagine nobody wanted to see 5 minutes of me obsessively, compulsively hammering the UltiMAK just right into place. The other thing you check for is side-to-side positioning. Make sure it's not a little too much on one side or another around the gas block tenon. This one's a little bit off to the side. We're going to fix it in a second. But basically, you just kind of push it into place. Okay, next step after it looks like everything's lined up into place is you tighten the screws a little more and then test it with the bolt carrier. Got to make sure the bolt carrier slides freely back and forth inside. If you feel it hanging up, well then you probably have to adjust the UltiMAK. It's a little awkward with the camera, so I'm going to mess with it off camera and see if I'm really getting any resistance. Okay, once it looks like the piston's moving freely in there and you've adjusted it so everything moves freely, just tighten these things the rest of the way, making sure they're even. And then take it out to the range and make sure the dang weapon works with it. Squatting. I'm just tearing that up. And other side. Other side. Alright. Alright. That should be a complete UltiMAK installation.